Hello, you guys. Welcome to Stilettos on the Pavement. My name is Tameka. We're on exclusively We Believe Digital, and we have some exciting guests with us today. Let me allow them to introduce themselves shortly. But again, my name is Tameka Garrett, and today I have Isabella, Ellis, and Raven with me. And I also have in support the executive director for NAMI, Mississippi, Sitaniel. So you guys, if I chopped up your name, please correct me. I want to start by allowing you, I see all your beautiful faces and I'm so excited to learn more about Open Up Mississippi. If you would start by introducing yourself and then we'll go right into it.
So I guess I'll get started. My name is Sitaniel Wimbley. I'm the executive director, and they're gonna start and tell you who they are.
I'm Ellis Coleman.
Isabella Cloy.
Raven Portier.
Okay. Thank you all so much for coming, for being here today and allowing our viewers to understand from a younger perspective, right, about Open Up Mississippi. And we'll talk a little bit about some other things pertaining to mental health and how important it is for us to have conversations about it and also to get the care that we need. Okay. So I will let you guys tell us a little bit about what exactly is Open Up Mississippi and how are you involved in it?
We are members of Open Up Mississippi, a youth-led leadership, statewide leadership program. We engage youth and young adults to break barriers about mental health and wellness.
Open Up Mississippi is, the members are living experience of people who deal with depression and anxiety, or it's members who have family and friends who suffer from depression and anxiety, or people who just want to help out.
And our members also age up from the age of 14 through the age of 26.
Okay. So you said ages 14 to 26, and I think that's a key for everybody to know. All right. Anything else you guys want to add before we go into our next question?
That's all.
No? All right. So tell me about some of the, in your personal opinion, how common are mental health challenges for youth and young adults, specifically for 14 to 26?
Believe it or not, they're more common than anything. Statistics says 1 in 5 teens live with mental health conditions. 50% of mental health conditions emerge around 14, and then 75% around age 24. A high percentage of high school students living with mental health illness suffers from suicide. Suicide is the third leading cause of death among young and youth adults. Men, actually, according to mentalhealthwellness.com, men is the most likely to commit suicide over women. I think that's because men have a tendency to ball up their feelings and not let their feelings show because of what their peers would think of them. Like, they have to be strong. They're not allowed to cry or express their emotions. They become considered as weak. So they all ball it in until it's enough, and they just end it.
Also,
Okay, that was my thought too. I wasn't sure, so I'm glad you shared that. But I was wondering if it was because a lot of times men are not quite as vocal as women are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good to know. And thank you for sharing the statistics with us. You said 50% know about the age of 14 and 75% about the age of 24, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you guys want to add anything else before we go? Did anyone else want to say something about that question?
Yes, ma'am. Also, up to 75% of mental health challenges emerge during adolescence.
Okay, 75 during adolescence, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for that. The next thing is, I'm just wondering, why is this so important to each of you? Like, do you have any personal stories that you like to share?
Yes, this is important to me because around the age of 15, I had a friend to commit suicide. I didn't know the warning signs. It was during COVID, so it was around the time where school wasn't in. We were all isolated. So during school, when I knew her, she was always the quiet type. So once school ended, we weren't really in contact. Nobody was in contact with each other. We were all just, by ourselves. I didn't see the warning signs in her. I didn't see any signs of depression, anxiety. She seemed her normal self until she committed suicide, and I was so surprised because I didn't know what happened. But I had another friend who recently tried to commit suicide, but I saw the warning signs in her. I witnessed that she was depressed. She wasn't eating. She was losing a lot of weight, taking drugs and pills, trying to overdose. And I told her mother about it, and we took her to therapy. So I learned the warning signs, the 10 common warning signs of mental health condition, which are feeling very sad or withdrawn for more than 2 weeks, seriously trying to hurt yourself or harm yourself in any way, out of control, risk taking behaviors that can harm yourself, overwhelming fear for no reason, racing heart, physical discomfort and fast breathing, severe mood swings that cause problems in a relationship, repeated use of drugs and alcohol, drastic changes in behavior, personality, or sleeping habits, extreme difficulty in concentrating or staying still that puts a person in physical danger, and lastly, intense worries or fears that get in the way of daily activities.
Okay. So, if you don't mind me asking, and if it's not something that you don't want to answer, you could just, say that, and that's okay. How did that? I mean, how was that for you to go to her mother? Like, I wonder how you felt. Were you concerned about your friendship at that point, or what were you thinking at that point?
And at that point, the friendship, I wasn't worried about losing the friendship because once I told her mom, and she was mad at me. She was very angry. She stopped talking to me for months. But when she got better, she was like, I'd rather have a healthy friend than a dead friend, is what she told me. So she got healthier, she got better, she started gaining more weight. So yes, we weren't friends for a while, but she got better, and I was just happy that she got better. So I really wasn't concerned about losing her as a friend because I couldn't lose her as a person.
Okay, that makes sense. Anyone else have something to share about your personal stories while you're involved with Open Up Mississippi?
I have also lost a friend to them killing themselves by suicide, and we were in school and we didn't see the signs. So I just want to tell people and let them know that sometimes you won't be able to see the signs until it's too late.
Okay.
And also with me, I never had a friend commit suicide, but growing up in foster care, you see all different people come from all different backgrounds and all different types of mental illness. So for me being here, I done experienced all different types of mental illness among different types of people. So I wanted to come and try to open eyes and let people know that mental illness is very important.
Okay.
And then
It
for
is. And thank you.
me, as an
Go ahead.
adult and as the executive director of an organization that supports mental health and mental wellness, we thought it was important to give our young adults a voice. They need to be able to share what they're thinking and share what's going on with them when it relates to mental health so that we as adults and as a community will know how to react, how to respond, and how to best support them. So Open Up Mississippi was a natural fit for a partnership with the Department of Mental Health at the time in order to give our youth a platform to share and to build on what is important to them in relation to mental health. I mean, the organization itself is totally built by the young adults. We have 3 here today, but there are many, many more. Even the website, the logos, the mission and vision statement of the organization, all of that is led by young peers. So that's why Open Up is important to me.
Okay, and speaking of the website, what is the website?
It's www.openupmississippi.org, and you spell out the word Mississippi.
Okay, thank you for those who want to go and look and find out more information about the organization. And since two of the young adults on the panel today spoke about suicide, can you talk a little bit about the 988 number and what that's for?
Yes, 988 launched on July the 16th, and it is, in essence, the new suicide prevention hotline. However, with talking to some young adults over the weekend, the word suicide prevention makes you think it's a little bit different than it is. I think we probably should refer to it as the mental health hotline or mental illness hotline per se. So when someone is struggling with mental health, you can call that number instead of calling 911, and a trained clinician or a officer or someone who is trained to help mental health, someone who lives with a mental illness should arrive or should set up an appointment or should make it possible for individuals to get help and get help as early as possible.
All right, and I like that better. That, like you said, mental health or illness hotline. It has a better sound to it, in my personal opinion. But I'm glad to know that it does exist. 988. Did you guys want to add anything else before we move on? No. Okay, so the next question is, you all are working hard to get the word out, right, to young people about mental health. Tell us a little bit more about how you're doing that.
Well, we've been going across Metro Jackson, and talking to other peers and young adults, and we found out that through open discussion that they like to talk more to their peers than to talk to grown-ups, and we listed this warning signs and how we can help and how they can help try to stop their friends from hurting themselves. And this presentation that we pulled up through around Jackson Metro is called Say It Out Loud.
Okay.
We did.
So can you go ahead?
You
Go
can-
ahead, baby.
Okay, so we did, like you said, we did an open up conversation. We did it with a Heinz program. They were about 13, 15 teenagers. So I had them close their eyes so, no one would judge them. I had them close their eyes and raise their hand if it was easier for them to talk to an adult. And put their hands down, and then raise their hands easier to talk to peers closer to their age. And just about everybody in the room raised their hand to talk to someone closer to their age. And they mentioned that it's easier to talk to their peers because their peers better understand. When they try to talk to adults, adults don't take them seriously. Or they'll say things like, you have nothing to be depressed about. Or, you're too young to be depressed. You don't pay bills. Or you shouldn't be stressing at such a young age. And one of our goals is for adults to take children more seriously or teens more seriously, because there isn't an age limit on depression. So there is no such thing as you're too young to be depressed, because since COVID started, I believe that the age rate is just going to get younger and younger.
Yeah, you said a lot there. You're absolutely right. We're going to take a break in a second. And when we come back, I would love for you guys to talk about the conversations that you have with young people. I get it. Say it out loud, raise your hand, close your eyes makes perfect sense to me. As an adult, what do you think we can do to be more supportive? So you guys think about that. And when we come back from a break, I'm going to allow each of you to answer that question. Okay. So for our viewers, you guys, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Thank you so much for watching and sharing with others.
The Mississippi Link is an African American female-owned newspaper with a trusted voice that is highly respected throughout the city, state, and nation. Our motto, Keepers of the Knowledge for People Who Speak the Truth, since 1993. Link significantly influences the thoughts, attitudes, and buying decisions of its readers. Call us at 601-368-8481 for your advertising needs. If you would like to receive a newspaper in the mail each week, our annual subscription is only $52 per year. That is only $1 per week for you to stay informed regarding many stories that you can only get in the Mississippi Link. Sign up today at themississippiLink.com and click on Home Delivery.
Socrates Garrett ENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. Socrates Garrett ENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into M.DOT grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com.
Wedding, milestone anniversary, or corporate event, 5-Star Lodge is the rustic elegance you need for your event space. With hardwood and stunning chandeliers, this is just the beginning of the 5-star treatment. Our on-site venue manager will ensure all details exceed your expectations. We offer a luxurious bridal lounge, beautiful reception hall, cabins, and an outdoor pavilion on the water. Visit 5stareventlodge.com to get started on your most memorable experience.
Welcome back to Stilettos on the Pavement with Miss Garrett.
Beautiful. I love it. So we are back. You guys, if you would just introduce yourselves again for those who may be coming on right now, that would be great.
I'm Sitaniel Wimbley, the Executive Director of NAMI, Mississippi.
I'm Ellis Coleman.
Isabella Cloy.
Raven Portier.
And all of these young adults are from Open Up, Mississippi.
Thank you so much for that introduction again. And then the website you said is openupmississippispelledout.org. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's it.
Okay, great. So before we went to a commercial break, we were asking about, what can adults do to be more supportive in talking to the young people about mental health issues? What do you guys think?
More adults need to, like she said, listen, like be more open to the conversation. Like if a teen come to you and be like, "Mom, I'm depressed," like don't just brush it off. Don't just be like, you don't pay bills or you don't do all this. You ain't no reason for you to be depressed. Because like as the sister says, suicide and mental healthness is among young adults. They feel like they don't have anyone to listen to or to talk to, so they feel like they should just like not be here. Even when it comes to friendships or in school and like all that, because peer pressure is definitely horrible. Like teens get talked into doing the most craziest thing, especially nowadays, and everything is on social media. So everything you do or post tends to just stay there forever, and something could be leaked and just a split second that person wants to end it all and they feel like they don't have anyone to talk to. So as parents and young adults and friends, like if your friends coming to say like they need to end it, they don't want to be here, like don't brush it off. Try to give them some help.
We want you to let us know that it's okay to be frustrated, sad, or even angry. We want you to know we want you to let us know that we can feel comfortable around you so that we know that we can tell you the truth and how we honestly feel, because we want to have trust in you.
And
That's a very good
one
point,
thing
Ellis.
to me
Thank
as
you.
a parent that I would add is don't get wrapped up in the actual delivery of the message. listen to the message, because sometimes profanity may come out. Sometimes it may come out in a very rude attitude. However, what you don't want to do is miss the real message from a young adult because you got stuck at the delivery. So look past what or how it's delivered and listen to what's really being said. Listen to what's being communicated.
And one more thing, if you or any of the viewers want to go to this website, it's called Mental Health Statistics and Facts, is where I got my research from, and also, known knowledge from friends. But the research shows that most of the depression from teens start from peer pressure from their parents or friends, like such as school. They want to make perfect grades for their parents. I talked to one girl in the Hines program who said she make all A's. She made 1B, and her parents just made her feel like it was the end of the world. So they try to do their very best to impress their parents and friends, and it causes them to fall into depression. Or, relationships, friendships, especially girls when it comes to relationships. I'm not sure how men feel. You can speak on that. But I know many girls fall into a deep depression after breakups. I know I did. So, what else? So, like she said, social media is another big thing. Anything can get leaked. Once you delete something, it's not always deleted, especially if that person already saved it. And once a year go by or months go by and you think it's all over with, the video is up again. So it's nothing ever goes away on social media. You have to be careful what you put out there. And as parents and adults, I feel like they need to watch over their kids what they post. I know a lot of parents don't let their children at a certain age have social media, but it's even 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds who are going through bullying. You can be grown and still get bullied on social media and decide that you want to end it. So as adults and as friends, not just adults, we should watch over what we post and what other people post on social media. Like if I see my friend post something inappropriate or something suicidal on social media, I'll personally tell her to take it down. And if it's suicidal, I'll go to her parents about it, because most of my friends are under the age of 18. And if they're over 18, I'll talk to my mom or another adult to get them professional help.
That's a really good point. And I'm glad you brought up social media. The part about, we talk about social media a lot, but what you went the extra mile, Isabella, and talked about how the memories come back in a year. So yeah, if someone had a birthday or something, to celebrate, that's great. But if they were having a tough time and they posted something, they're again going to be reminded in a whole year from now. That could be a trigger for them and send them right back to an unhappy, place in their life. So I'm really glad that you brought that up, because a lot of times we leave that part out, that it's going to be seen year after year, versus just that one time. Does anyone else have something to add? No. You guys are so quiet. Okay, so let me I'm gonna shift gears and have some Centennial. Am I pronouncing your name correct?
Yeah, Sitaniel.
Okay, so Taniel, I'm going to have her speak a little bit about, she can talk about either Open Up Mississippi or NAMI Mississippi, but we want to make sure that our listening audience understands where they can reach out to and for what exactly.
Okay.
You want to talk
So
about
I'll
some stuff
kind
that
of
you guys do?
do a quick overview of both. NAMI Mississippi is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. It's a national organization, but I work in the state level of that organization. We have affiliates across the state. We have seven established affiliates and one developing affiliate, and they range from Oxford down to the Gulf Coast. So you can always go to www.namims.org and find information about what we do and what we offer. We offer support groups for people who live with the mental illness as well as their families. We offer training classes to train an individual how to live in recovery, as well as train family members how to support someone who lives in with the mental illness. And then we offer presentations such as Say It Out Loud that these young adults are sharing. We go into churches, we go into schools, we go into, if you will talk to me on the corner and can gather 5 people, we can come there and do a presentation. I mean, the goal is to stop the stigma of mental illness, and to give a voice to people who sometimes are forgotten. A lot of times people are so busy making systems and support and treatment that they forget to ask the people who are actually using the services. So that's kind of what NAMI does, and we also advocate for people in who live with mental illness. And when I mean advocate, we talk to different systems and let them know what's working and what's not working. When the legislation is making their rounds and doing what they need to do, we're there to listen to what's going on and find out what's going to affect people who live with the mental illness. With 988, we do our best to give our input when it comes to the planning process, because we are people who have lived experience and we want to share that knowledge. So that's what NAMI does. And then Open Up Mississippi is actually the youth department of NAMI. However, it's kind of hard to tell youth you want to be a part of the National Alliance on Mental Illness. That's not as cool as saying, here's your own organization, make it what you want it to be. Of course, NAMI is a nonprofit, so we have a board, we have programs, we have board leadership. Our goal with Open Up Mississippi is for them to grow into our next leaders. However, right now we're teaching them. We're teaching them how to run the actual website, how to promote their own programs, how to speak publicly. I mean, all of those things are going to be important in their lives. And then at the same right, we listen. We listen for what they need us to share when we go into meetings, and what's needed to improve mental health in the mental health system in the state of Mississippi, especially for our young adults, because we know they are honestly our future, and if we don't listen to them, then we won't be able to make any progress. So they're two organizations in one, but they go hand in hand to make sure that in the grand scheme of things, we're just trying to make it better for individuals who live with mental illness so they can have a better life, just have a more successful, fulfilling life.
Right. So their life will be more fulfilling, as well as, you know, somebody, a lot of times, you know, when people, like you said, if you're this certain age group, they want to talk to this particular age group because they feel like you understand more, right? And not only that, there may be less in their minds, there may be less judgment versus talking to an adult. So I want to applaud all three of you, because what you're doing speaks volumes, and it is definitely needed, right? So that we can cover all age groups, because as I believe it was Isabella who said, mental health or mental illness doesn't have an age. So those are the things that I want you guys to know, that what you're doing is vital and it's definitely needed. So thank you guys so much for that. You talked a little bit about Say It Out Loud. I just want to know a little bit more about that. What is that, and what do you guys do there?
So you want to tell them what you talk about and say it out loud?
Yeah. Okay. So, like she said, we're a young adult group from 14 to 26. We're just building it up, so we haven't just been too many places. We done talked at a couple of churches. We talked at Hines. We're actually working on a very exciting presentation to do, so y'all stay tuned to that. We've been having Zoom calls. We have been having guests on Zoom calls to just talk to us about what's the next step in the future for Open Up Mississippi. We also
What else do we do? Our goal really is just to help youth, to get them more comfortable into talking to people. That's basically why our Open Up Mississippi Say It Out Loud members are so young, because many youth feel like it's more comfortable to talk to people closer to their age. So although the company is run by adults, they hire youth to help out with youth, if you get what I'm saying.
And y'all will be so surprised of how youth on youth piggyback from each other rather than a youth talking to an adult, because we go through the same thing, literally, and our lives is probably just a different day. So having youth on youth conversations, it opens many youth eyes, like, oh, well, I thought I was the only one, going through this at this age. So we try to, that's one of our goals too, to try, help other teenagers feel like they're not the only ones going through it.
Like it's normal. It's not normal for them to, but it's normal, if you know what I'm saying. And also we walked into a lot of rooms where they'll just be slumped down, bored, ready to go to sleep. But once we get to talking, we share our personal stories. They're like, "Oh, really? Let me tell you what happened." So it's better on youth on youth.
And I think one thing, like they're saying, the stories just start to flow. Like I said, both our organizations are peer-led, meaning a person who lives with a mental illness or a loved one or a family member of a person who lives with a mental illness. So they understand. There's always empathy there. The doors are always open, and there's a no judgment zone. I mean, when you meet one of us with these wonderful green shirts on, there's no judgment, because this young adult may have been there or know someone who has. So with Say It Out Loud, it's a NAMI program, but what they do is they share the 10 common warning signs, and then they share, so those are kind of signs and symptoms. And then they go through the process of talking about what to do in the process of realizing this person has these warning signs, and who to talk to, and how to, convey what you hear is going on, or how are you feeling. So it's important that they share those stories, those personal stories, because that's how you break those walls down. And I've done Say It Out Loud before we got these young adults to help, and I am always floored at what our young adults know. I'm always floored at the medications, the treatment plans, the actual diagnoses that they can tell you about for themselves and their family members. So many times people and adults think, okay, these young adults don't know anything about mental health or mental wellness. Yes, they do, because they're living it, they're breathing it, they're seeing it, and they understand a lot more. The problem is they're not being allowed to talk about it. They're not being allowed to share the frustration they go through when they're having a bad day because of their mental health journey. And Open Up gives that opportunity. And I think when we go into schools and when these young adults go into classrooms and camps and things of that nature, it puts a actual name to the symptoms and the feelings and the things that the young adults are going through. And it gives them the power to understand what's really happening and how to get the help.
Thank you. So that was a lot, and I'm going to touch on some of those things when we come back. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, I would love one of you guys, Ellis, Raven, or Isabella, to go over those common signs, and I might pull out one or two of those and then ask you a couple of questions. So we'll be right back, you guys. Thank you so much for watching Stilettos on the Pavement, exclusively on We Believe Digital.
The Mississippi Link is an African American female-owned newspaper with a trusted voice that is highly respected throughout the city, state, and nation. Our motto, Keepers of the Knowledge for people who speak the truth, since 1993. Link significantly influences the thoughts, attitudes, and buying decisions of its readers. Call us at 601-368-8481 for your advertising needs. If you would like to receive a newspaper in the mail each week, our annual subscription is only $52 per year. That is only $1 per week for you to stay informed regarding many stories that you can only get in the Mississippi Link. Sign up today at themississippilink.com and click on Home Delivery.
Welcome back to Stilettos on the Pavement with Miss Garrett.
Thank you so much. All right, so let's talk about some of the most common warning signs. If you could read some of those for us, please.
Yes. Feeling very sad or withdrawn for more than 2 weeks. Seriously trying to harm or kill oneself or making plans to do so. Severe out of control risk-taking behaviors that can cause harm to yourself or others. Sudden overwhelming fear for no reason, sometimes with racing heart, physical discomfort, or fast breathing. Not eating, throwing up, or using laxatives to lose weight, significant weight loss, or weight gain.
Severe mood swings that cause problems in relationships, repeated use of drugs and alcohol, the drastic change in behavior, personality, sleeping habits, extreme difficult into concentration or staying still that puts a person in physical danger or cause school failure, intense worries or fears that get in the way of daily activity like hanging out with friends or going to classes.
Okay. I just listened to those again, some of the common, signs. And I know before I got my own personal diagnosis, I had so many of these that you listed, that you just named off. I'm like making notes and like, yep, that was me. Yep, that was me. But what was interesting is that I noticed some of the signs myself, but my family noticed too. So, and I was, maybe when it got really bad, I was in my 40s, right? So I wasn't the 50% at 14 or the 75 at 24. And so you guys talked a little bit earlier about how important it is for parents to watch their children, watch them even on social media, and also how important it is as friends in your age group that you guys service, 14 to 26, to pay attention to the signs of your friends as well. So when you do that, I'm just curious to know if you notice some of these signs that you mentioned here with a friend, how would you approach them?
So the way that I approached
Anyone
it,
can answer.
like I said the first time, I didn't notice when my friend killed herself, but I learned them, and after, because I went and I stayed with that friend for a certain amount of time, and I noticed that she was very depressed. She was, you know, not eating and losing a lot of weight. So the way I handled it was telling her mom about it. That's really one, because I tried talking to her about it. Sometimes talking doesn't always get their attention. They need action. We need action. So we took action, and she got better. So it's really more about the action. Less talk and more action.
Okay. Anyone else want to share?
And I think it's very interesting that our young adults here were able to share with the parent. In some instances, young adults are in college. So between the ages of 14 and 26, you're changing your life. You're becoming an adult. And the reasoning for a lot of the struggles are you're moving through a transition of becoming a young adult and becoming an actual adult with bills and work and being on your own. So in colleges, it's important to note that if you do see these signs and symptoms and you don't know what to do, there is always somewhere on campus that can help others that are struggling. You can reach out to your resident assistants who live in the dorms. They should be able to give information. You should be able to go to the clinic at the school and get information. You can always go to one of our websites, the www.namims.org or www.openupmississippi.org, and get a phone number and call one of us, and we'll tell you what to do. And if all else fails and you just know this person's struggling and something needs to happen, you can call 988. Let them know what's going on and ask them what to do. They may be able to help get that person into a treatment program or make sure that that person gets moved into the right direction so that they can become on their mental wellness journey. Because like you said, Tameka, you were in your 40s, but had it been earlier and someone caught something small in the beginning, it wouldn't have potentially gotten as drastic as it was, because the earlier you get help, the better off. I mean, I always say this, it's like diabetes. If you catch it early, you learn how to handle it. You learn how to live with it, and you learn how to be successful with it. So it's important to know you can always ask questions to NAMI Mississippi or Open Up Mississippi, or even call 988 and ask for guidance.
To
Right. And
piggyback off what she said about college, people don't seem to understand that college really causes a lot of stress. Parents don't really talk to their kids about what like mentally emotion what happened in college, rather than they just talk about drugs, or like don't do drugs, don't do alcohol. They don't really just talk to them about like the mental stage, because I remember my freshman year in college, and I had so much built up anxiety because I wasn't told about how much stress you would be actually being put on to trying to find your classes, trying to find your crowd to fit in, trying to get work done at a certain specific time. Like, plus on top of trying to socialize, and you never, like, it's so much built up stress that people come overwhelmed and drop out of college. That's why it's like so many college drops out, because they never get that message of the mental illness side of what, like, how would you be feeling when you get into college.
I'd also like to add that not every mental health challenge will be diagnosed as a mental disorder, but every challenge should be taken seriously.
Those are very, very good points. And I wanted to correct myself. I didn't have a breakdown until in my 40s, but the signs that you guys talked about was years from my early 20s on up. And it was just basically that's how Mika is, right? But like you said, if someone had said maybe we need to find out what's going on with her instead of just saying that's how she is, I could have gotten help earlier. But I'm glad I got the help that I have now. Really, therapy makes a world of difference, for me, it definitely does. And I encourage anyone who needs it to go out and get it. So before we wrap this up, you guys, I want to thank you again for coming on, for being so open and honest and, transparent about what we've shared today with Open Up Mississippi. Is there something that so we're on our Facebook platforms, you're going to be on YouTube and Roku TV. So is there something that you definitely want the viewers to know before we go today?
Yes, I like to speak a little bit about the difference between mental health conditions and mental illnesses. So I noticed a lot throughout the show that they were saying mental illness, and don't get me wrong, but I disagree with y'all. So a mental condition would be anxiety, depression, things in that order. But a mental illness is, I feel like when you say illness, you think of a sickness, but you're not sick. You're not sick. You just need help. So although you're given this disorder, like eating disorder, I think that maybe is the illness because you're diagnosed with it, and you can get better with it. But I feel like, I don't know, I'm not sure if you can really get better with an eating disorder. I think you're like stuck with it forever. But depression, you can get better with depression. Your anxiety can get better. But with an eating disorder and bipolar disorder, like my friend, she was diagnosed with all of them: depression, anxiety, eating disorder, bipolar disorder, addiction to drugs. Like, those are, I think of that as a mental condition instead of illness, because illness is more of a sickness. Like, you won't get better from that, but you can get better. So I feel like it's more important to say I have a mental condition or they have a mental condition instead of a mental illness. I feel like that's just like the disrespectful way of saying, oh yeah, you sick. Yeah.
And what they do is they designate it as serious mental illness, which is a SMI, or a mental health condition. And that's what she's, I think, going for. And that's kind of how the doctors do it. Some things you do have long term, and that's just part of who you are. And then some things, they come and they go like seasons, and you just have to know when the season is coming and know how to handle it. And I think for most people who live with like depression, they know when their season's coming. You start to get a hang of, okay, something's going on in this season. So mental health conditions as well as mental illnesses, you can live with those, you can be successful with those, but you got to know what they are. You got to make sure you find out what's going on, get what's needed, and the help that you were saying, and make sure that you acknowledge it. You can't just ignore it and think it's going to go away, regardless of how serious it is or how small, because the smaller illnesses can lead to bigger ones if not treated. And then on the other end, from my perspective, what I would love for everyone to know is Open Up Mississippi is here to help any young adult across the state of Mississippi. If you want to be a member, go to the website again, www.openupmississippi.org, and just sign up and say, hey, I would love to be a member of Open Up. You don't have to have a mental health condition. You don't have to be the person. But if mental health is important to you, sign up and be a part of Open Up.
I would also like to say that you're not alone. Like, don't think that because you have this condition that you can't succeed in life. There's a whole lot of celebrities right now that's living with mental conditions. Kanye West suffers from bipolar disorder. Lizzo suffers from body dysphoria. Like, there's so many more celebrities out there that are living with this condition and succeeding in life very well. So don't ever think you're alone in this.
I also want to reiterate that it's okay to be sad, angry, frustrated, in that there are people here willing to help you.
That's really good. And then earlier today, I think Sitaniel said that, as parents or as adults, listen to what's going on, not the delivery. So when someone's angry or they're cursing or their body language is a little bit different than what you're used to, just don't worry about that part and just listen to what they have to say. So does anyone want to add anything else before we go? No? Okay, well, thank you guys so much, Isabella, Ellis, and Raven, for coming on our show today. And thank you so much for your support. I am happy that you guys came. I hope that this opens up conversations for other people, adults, to have conversations with a younger group of people, and that the young people continue talking to each other for the help that they need, because it's important on feeling comfortable enough to ask somebody for assistance or help or direction to where you can go get some professional assistance. So you guys, again, thank you so much for coming on the show, and for everyone watching, thank you for watching this show and as well as sharing. You guys take care of yourself and be healthy.
Do you have something to say? Do you want your voice heard? Join the We Believe Global lineup. Be the star of your own show. For more info, call 800-492-5186, option number 1, or visit online at webelieve.global.